Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Daily Live X. Apologies, we're a little bit late. We're having a little technical problem with our camera. Ned had broke it, of course.
Classic Ned.
Classic Ned. Yeah, Richarlison is gone. That band-aid's been ripped off. There you go. Got a new kit. We've got a new logo. It's a momentous day. As advertised there on the sponsoring of
Aintree under 11s, BVB.
There you go. And we're in good company because they're actually sponsored by Borussia Dortmund as well, which is on the back. So we're in good company. So also from today as well, you can join Toffee TV Premier. If you were a patron member, don't worry, you're automatically a Premier member, and that's what that'll be known as from today as well. That'll be Toffee TV Premier from today. So become a Toffee TV Premier member and get access to exclusive daily live videos and lots of other good things, discounts for the shop, all kinds, podcasts, the lot. Yeah, the forum. Yeah,
we've got this one.
It would help. It would, but you're not saying nothing so far, so it's okay. So Richarlison's left. That's gone. That was announced quite early. I woke up to the news and it was just like, well, it's done, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's done. And to be fair, what I did find was, what I thought was good was, it didn't seem to be an overstated sort of big massive announcement where, you know, Richarlison was parading around in his Spurs kit and giving all the kiss and the badge. It was very understated, I thought. There was no pictures of him in a kit. It was all photoshopped. And obviously the first thing we've heard is from Richarlison, who's come out and said it's very difficult to say goodbye to a place that has become my home, of fans who have welcomed me not just as another player but as if I was one of them in the stands, and the club treated me kindly and helped me develop my sense of community and empathy. No words and not all the love I have for this club is enough to thank you. We'll see you along the way. I love you, Evertonians. Which I just thought was brilliant. I thought it was a really nice thing. And as I said, because the whole thing was very understated, I thought it was a nice sort of transition without sort of rubbing our noses in it. So it's done. We've got our money in. Burnley apparently are satisfied and have gone away now, so that's sorted.
What a surprise!
And we can just get on with it now and sort of try and figure out who we're going to come, who's going to come in for us. And obviously the first name linked was Jesse Lingard.
First name Lingst.
So I don't really think this is. I don't know. He's been linked heavily with West Ham, and I imagine someone is trying to get more money out of West Ham, but I wouldn't put it past Everton.
I think Everton have probably looked at him because he's a free transfer, and they might quite clearly they don't have to cut the cloth accordingly, aren't they? This is what we've been asking him to do. However, signing Jesse Lingard, as good a player as he is, and don't get me wrong, he could come in and have an impact. He did at West Ham when he went on loan, but again, it just doesn't. You know, he's 30 in December. It's one of them, isn't it? With it, 16 games last season for Manchester United in the Premier League, 2 goals. Done all right. Well, done very well, didn't he? Done very well on West Ham. On loan at West Ham, and I still think he'll end up there.
Yeah, and I think he'll do well. Don't get me wrong. I think he will do well.
Do you think he'd do well at Everton?
I think he probably would do well at Everton, but I think it's like, as Andy would say to us, in 2 years' time, would he still be doing well when he's still got another 2 years left on a contract?
But they'd only offer him 3 years, wouldn't he? That'd be the thing. They'd offer him a 3-year deal. That, given his age, probably be on over £100,000 a week, though. Well, comfortably be on £100,000 a week. He's free transfer.
Free transfer. Yeah, and that's the problem, isn't that? The problem with Everton would have to learn their lessons and haven't previously, and I don't think we've got, as the phrase is now, the wiggle room to really start sort of piling up, because this is something Andy said to us a couple of years ago when we brought the Corey and Allen in, and it didn't really resonate with me at the time because I thought we needed experienced players at the club. But he was, like he said, in 2 years' time you'll be looking to start again, and he's right.
I think he's wrong on the Corey.
I still think we needed experience, and I think we needed to put players around them, which we didn't. But I think he is right in terms of you still need experience, and it's like, because we haven't bought anybody else in the meantime to go into that midfield, you are starting where you're looking at and going, God, we need a whole midfield again next year. So, yeah. And just following on from that, before we find out what you think about it, Marcel Brands has been speaking about this time in Everton. He said, "I wouldn't have missed it for the world. It was a wonderful country for football, a wonderful club, but very difficult to manage. Especially because the owners, not owner, are very involved, which makes them easy to influence. That makes it a very difficult very difficult sometimes." There you go. I think more English clubs suffer from that, but I wouldn't have missed the experience I gained there for anything. Let's put it this way, of course, we did good things. Only that was also the frustration. You don't get the grip that is needed to really change things. We have made steps internally in the youth academy and with the transfers from the first team, but then you see the impatience and you fall back having made steps by simple things. That's a real shame because it's a beautiful club with beautiful fans. And I think that says it all, doesn't it? Whether I'm sure, Marcel Brands played his part in some of that, but I think he's stating very clearly there, how can you do anything when you've got owners who want to get involved? And I think not only does he say the owners, but they're easy to influence. And that obviously is the outside forces, the agents who've obviously got into the ear of Farhad Moshiri, and even Usmanov getting into the ear of Farhad Moshiri, and he's obviously clearly not being able to do his job. And that's why I have said on many times about, cleaning house. Because it does start at the top, and we won't go over that, of course, we won't go over that. No, but it shows that some people can't do their jobs. They can get the best people in the world to come in, but if they're not allowed to do the jobs properly, it's.
I totally agree. By the way, we do need to clear them all up. Let's be clear on that. I haven't said we don't, because we do. We need to start again. There's no question about that. My only thing with Marcel Brands, and I'm glad he actually come out and said something, because he's been quiet, and he was always going to say it through the Dutch news, because that's all we heard when he was here. It was through Dutch newspapers. My only thing with him is, why did he sign his next deal then? That's my issue. My issue is, if you're trying to do the job, you come in. You come in at first, and he wanted to work with Marco Silva. He wanted to keep Marco Silva. That was quite clear. When Marco Silva got sacked, he was against the sacking of him. He was the one fighting for him to stay, but Everton went ahead and sacked him, and obviously Carlo Ancelotti come in and all that. And I know that Carlo Ancelotti wasn't Marcel Brands' choice. He didn't want him but I think they worked together all right. But he should have kicked up more of a fuss, or he should never have signed his next extension. I'd have had much more respect personally for him if he would have gone, nah, you know what, I'm not re-signing because I can't do my job. He won't let me do my job. He ended up signing his extension, and he was sidelined almost immediately. But that he should have asked for those assurances before he put pen to paper. He should have said to Moshiri, if Carlo goes, I want to choose the next manager, and got them to agree to that.
Do you not think, though, that he probably did get those assurances?
No, because if it was me, I'd have walked out.
And yeah, well, he did, didn't he? Ultimately, well, he did. Well, he did walk out.
Well, Benitez basically marginalised them to the point where
it's difficult, though, isn't it? Because you don't know. You're talking about a guy who's come from a different country, who's had to, move his family, come over here. It seems like he quite liked living here. He quite liked the lifestyle.
I think he liked Everton,
and it's.
I think he liked working at the club.
So therefore, it's not as easy, is it? Though, just to go, well, it's you try and work within the confines of what you're working in. Do you know what I mean? He might have thought, I don't want to give up on this. He might have actually thought, I'll outstay this fella anyway. He'd be gone soon, and I'll get back to doing what I was doing. I'll just have to sort of leave it for a while, and then. But maybe when that meeting happened in December, he was like, it came very clear that this fella wasn't going anywhere. And then the mad thing is, and then 4 weeks later, he's out the door anyway. And it's just like, my opinion is, I think Brands made plenty of mistakes, but also
there wasn't enough clear
the remit of his job has always been all over the gaff. All over the place, and there's never been any kind of true idea. And I just think when your owner is continually meddling in what you're doing, because ultimately he's your boss. You can't turn round to him and go, "What are you doing?
You
Stop
can
it!"
go, though, can't you?
You can't. No, you can go. But I think. But as I said, there,
Because let's be honest, he was always getting another job in Holland.
Oh,
Always,
of course.
always.
But
Because
then that makes it even more thinking of him staying, though, doesn't it? Because ultimately, his reputation has not been damaged by what happened at Everton. Because I think everyone within the game understands what was going on.
Listen, I've spoke to a few people in the game at different clubs and people who work on the periphery, and there is a common theme running right through it, that it's chaotic. Graham Potter, Marcel Brands wanted Graham Potter last summer when Carlo went. Graham Potter just wasn't keen, not because it's Everton Football Club. He'd have walked there, but it was when he spoke to other people about the running of the football club. Now, Marcel Brands wouldn't have been able to say to him, "No, honest, it's sound, mate. It's not like that," because the evidence is there. Other people in the game say, "Everton's mad." You hear Simon Jordan, whether you like him, hate him, whatever, he talks to people within football.
Chaotic,
they know it's chaotic.
Yeah.
You know what? I spoke to Roy Keane at that overlap a couple of times, and he's like, "Stuff I'm hearing, it's mad." And it's not on the playing side, there's stuff around it, because people talk. People talk in football.
But of course they do, because obviously, if you're doing business with somebody and you go pick up the phone and go, "I'm going to speak to Marcel Brands," and then the next minute you're like, "Well, no, you're going to have to speak to him, or you're going to have to speak to him." It's like, "Well,
and
hang
then
on,
it goes to him.
hang on." And there's clear evidence as well. I mean, listen, the El Ghazi deal is just the clearest evidence you need, isn't it? The Sahar stuff is the clearest evidence.
Iwobi.
Bringing in a
No
Iwobi.
disrespect to Iwobi.
No, he's
he
obviously
ended up doing all right at the
he's
end.
done all right at the end of the season, but
he come in. Silva didn't want Iwobi, did he?
No,
he did. It's quite clear. You see, I only think, and this is circling back to Jesse Lingard actually, because Jesse Lingard, really good footballer, not amazing, but he's a good footballer. Carries a goal threat which Everton don't have. Runs with the ball which Everton don't have from them positions. A bit like Ross Barkley in terms of travelling with the ball. So on the face of it, would be a decent signing for Everton. But there's two issues with the whole. Well, there's probably about 15 issues, but I'm going to name 2 or 3 that are my main bugbears with this. One is his age. So there's no sell-on and all that, and people can get hung up with sell-on or ignore sell-on or go agree with me on sell-on, but it's right. It's right, because this is where we are now. How much of our squad have just walk out the door without any value, So that's one. 2 is, where's he going to play?
Will it be 3 number 10s?
And we're back again.
Yeah,
we're back again. We've got Dele, we've got Iwobi who can play in there, we've got Anthony Gordon who can go in there, we've then had Jesse Lingard who play in there. There's 4 for starters. We've Rafa Benitez even played Damari Gray in there at the start of the season, if you remember rightly. So there's again, I've got no. If Frank Lampard had, and this is not Frank Lampard. This could be Marco Silva when Alex Iwobi came in. If he'd have had a framework, let's use Marco Silva. If he'd have had the framework and gone, "I'd love a number 10," and Everton had gone, "Well, we've got Alex Iwobi from Arsenal." Right, and Marco Silva would have gone, "Yeah, actually, I think he can do it," and put him in the team instead of Gylfi. I'd have gone, right, okay, that makes sense, because Gylfi was getting, I mean, ironically, we've missed Sigurdsson last season, but that would have made sense. He was 29, whatever, come to 30. Iwobi was younger, come in, he's going to go in that middle, he's energetic in the middle, and we played him every week. That would have kind of made sense. You brought this fella in and all that, but Iwobi come in, played on the wing, the left for a bit, then was out the team, then played against West Ham at home, and we were excellent. We won 2-0. Iwobi was excellent. Bernard was playing. Everton were brilliant that day. In fact, Tom Davis schooled Declan Rice that day, which is crazy to think where the 2 of them are now. Everton were outstanding. Iwobi he should have scored. It was a brilliant move, and he should have scored it, but he was brilliant. And then we went to Brighton, I think it was, the week later, and Bernard got injured. And that was it. Sigurdsson was back on, Iwobi was back on the left, and then that was it. It never happened again. I think
he came on at Southampton in the second half.
In the second half, and turned the game.
But
that was it. It was fleeting. He'd already played him in the 10 at Sheffield Wednesday in the cup, and he was excellent. And so it was again. He was a manager who had players in too many positions. Ronald Koeman
King of the
You know,
tens.
king of the tens, yeah. You know, and this is still happening now with Everton. It
But-
seems. But this is all speculation.
Like you said to me,
But-
it's only speculation.
Speculation.
Yeah.
So it's right. So what I want
No.
to see now is people coming in where we need them.
Yeah.
And then I'll go, right, sound. We're starting to
Yeah.
go on the right path here. And this Jesse Lingard stuff, Frank Lampard might well like him. Kevin Thelwell might look and go, you know what? He's free. We'll do a 2+1 with him, where he's cost us no money other than wages. And for this next year, because Everton are still, let's have it clear, Everton are still going to have to be prudent.
Yeah.
Just because Richarlison's gone for money doesn't mean, right, 100 million now, because that ain't how it's going to work. So we have got to be prudent. And Everton might look around and go, like you do on Football Manager, you got a little budget and you go, who's available on free? And they might go year to year now. And if Everton said to Jesse Lingard, we offer you 2+1, you know,
Like the Spice Girls.
yeah, exactly like them, you know. And hopefully they'll come together to be the one. And we'll look at it at the end of them 2 years with the option and stuff. And he's interested in taking it. That might be a way to do it. It's not really what I want Everton to do.
Yeah.
But then again, Christian Eriksen's there at 30, and we're all if it got announced Eriksen at time, we'd all be dancing.
Oh yeah.
And I know he's a different level,
he's a different kettle.
but what I'm saying is,
No, of course there
it's
are.
still, the same things are still there.
There are different
Big
levels.
money.
Yeah.
So
There
we
are
have to be
different
very
levels.
careful. And again, just the final bit
fair.
on this. If we got Lingard and then went and got someone from France who was 19, midfielder, I'd be going, all right, well, they are trying to piece it with one type with the other.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem that way, but again, I must stress, it is only paper talk at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. Little service announcement, because this hasn't been mentioned too much, right? But the new kit's out today, right? So let me just tell you this. If you've got an old kit from the last 10 years and you go to either of the Everton shops and take it in, if you're buying the new one, you get 10% off. Just to let
That's
everybody
good, and
know.
that's for Kit Aid,
That's
is
for
it?
Kit Aid.
That's good.
So just to let everyone know, if you haven't already bought your kits.
Do it, yeah.
And also, if you are buying your kits but you're buying them online, if you go through our link, we get like a penny or something.
2 pence. That is.
2 pence. 2 pence for every share.
Does it?
So it all adds up, doesn't it?
Adds up
All-
to the.
all adds up.
What it might do is it might buy the milk for the week.
It might buy the milk,
Well,
yeah.
you know, we'd have to sell a lot.
Ned's dummy.
The sugar ones.
No one we.
The one that Wayne has. That picture of Rooney on holiday with the big
Hey,
thingy.
Ned.
What?
No, the new training gear.
Yeah.
They've got vests,
I know, yeah.
and they look a little bit like basketball jerseys.
Oh, no.
Why don't you get one of them?
No.
Why don't you get one of them?
No.
Might do.
Go ahead, lad.
No.
Because that I would love to see that golden tan on your arms.
Imagine Ned in a vest. He just said to me before. Sorry, we will carry on now. He just said to me before. You know what? I've been thinking. I'm not gonna enjoy putting sun cream on my legs. I'm hairy. I'm too hairy. Or
Get Cam to do it.
that's what I thought. So that was my initial thought. And he was going, I'm just gonna put some on the back of my neck and some on me. I was like, Ned, it's hot. You're gonna have to put it on. Get the spray. Just spray it. And you're sorted. It's like, mate, just chill. You're not like, you're not a gorilla full of like thick matted hair. You're a child with some red hairs on his legs.
Yeah.
And therefore, because your hairs are red, your skin is fair, you do have to put sun cream on. If
You
it's
do.
hot, end of.
Factor 50.
Just stop flapping over the
Ned,
fact you've
just
got to put
buy,
it on.
right, the spray stuff.
That's what I've just sold.
Get the spray stuff.
Just go,
Obviously,
off you
obviously
go.
factor 50. Obviously waterproof.
Yeah.
And spray and just spray it on yourself and then rub it in.
Job done, mate.
Job done.
Don't have to worry.
And buy some new stuff. You're orange.
Sold he squeaks when he walks,
Yeah, I
mate.
think I bought them last week.
Oh.
Well, if you've bought it, what are you complaining for?
Coconut oil.
I've got some of that as well, aloe vera.
Well, that's not. They're literally not the same
No.
things. They are literally two ends of the spectrum.
Oh yeah, I bought that's sunburn medicine
Sunburn medicine.
called aloe vera.
Can you
Sunburn medicine.
can you get sunburn medicine?
Yeah.
Medicine that you
Medicine
take.
that you take.
You just put it on your skin.
Well, that's not medicine, then, is it?
It's called aloe vera.
Yeah, but that's not medicine. That's just like,
Do you understand what
after sun
Do you know what aloe vera
or
is?
just like burn relief.
Well, what do you know what aloe vera is?
Yeah.
What is it?
Medicine, according to it.
Song.
Right, get into some comments. Brian Murray says the wedge he'd want, jog on Jesse. Richard said Jesse Lingard, just liquidate the club. Simon says, no, stop taking rejects from other Premier League clubs. Tom says, unpopular opinion, but I actually really like how the stake sponsor looks on the kit. If only it had blue socks, it'd be a 10 out of 10. I wanted blue socks. I've seen a few people going, thank God the socks are white. I wanted blue socks. I quite like the kit. I think the kit's really nice. The white things under the arms when it's flat like that, I don't like. But when it's on,
when
it's like on a player, it looks sound. The stake thing, I don't think it's that much of an issue for me. But I know for other people, really don't like it. So it is. It's one of them, isn't it? Some people won't mind it, others will hate it. But I actually think the kit's all right. But I've seen people going, it's cheap. It's rubbish.
That's actually not cheap.
That's
dead.
Feels
that's dead like pillowy. It is.
Pillowy. It gives you a massage. Mike said Toffee's interested in any old shite from other Premier League clubs. It is all speculation. We must stress, mustn't we, at this moment. Brian says, someone tell me I'm missing something, but what's the point of Thelwell if we just take cast-offs year after year? I thought his remit was to find gems and have a decent scouting system. Well, maybe he is trying to do that. I don't know, Brian, is the answer. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and go, maybe he's putting this stuff in, and maybe, and right now, it's like the bottom of the staircase, innit? We don't know what's at the top. Hopefully, it'll become clear. But like I said before, maybe finances will dictate what they can do this year. I honestly just don't. Well, they will dictate what they can do, but Michael Wood says, I'm fully into the board out phase again. How many of our best players must we have to sell to save our club? Bill, collect all your minions and go. I've paraphrased that. Call yourself an Evertonian. A real Evertonian would accept you're not right for the club at that capacity. Yeah. Gareth says it's a strong no from me on the Chilwell thing. Ben says, did well for West Ham, so really can't say he's a reject, considering other factors such as his wage and the fact he does TikTok dances. We shouldn't even be considering.
That is a major issue.
Dan says, all paper talk I know, but I've got to say it's boiled my piss a little that we're in talks at Lingard while Brentford are about to sign Potter. If true, this club just won't learn from its mistakes, just thinking for the short-term plug-ins on big money as usual and not the bigger picture. What's your take on Keane Lewis Potter?
I'll be honest.
Going to Brentford for 16 million.
I've not seen enough of the lad. In fact, it's only because he's got a massively Tory name that I know anything about him, really. Okay. But he's obviously... He came on against us, didn't he?
And he hit the post against us.
He looked
he's
tidy.
He's lively.
He looked tidy, and he obviously looks a promising player. And then you sort of go, when we were linked with Bowen, going, what we could have won.
Does 5'7" put you off? Mike says.
Can I have to work with you every day?
Yeah, but would you want me playing on the wing for Everton?
I don't think it really matters. What's Anthony Gordon?
5'11", 5'10".
Is he? I don't think it really matters. I've seen some talent. It does matter if you're really small, like Bernard. But he's played in the Championship, and that's a difficult. That's a tough league. But we're not. These are the players that I think for those kind of players, that has to be your model, doesn't it? You have to have the money, and that has to be your model, and you have to track them for the whole season and keep an eye on them and know the ins and outs of them. I just don't think that's where we are now. I don't think Kevin Fellwell's had enough time. I don't think there's enough money. I think there's other areas of pitch that we have to strengthen before we strengthen the wide areas. And it's just bad timing, and it seems to be a lot of bad timing for a lot of players who are going to other places. Maybe a year down the line, that would have been a perfect deal, but just as we sit here now, it doesn't look like we're looking at that kind of... to be honest, I don't know what we're looking at. It's,
apparently, I mean... It hasn't been confirmed anywhere, has it? But the other week, Everton apparently made a bid for him of £2, £2.50 a week.
Strong start.
It was with Grattan. The deal was with Grattan, the Catalan. We tried Klarna, but he swears us. So quite clearly, Everton did like him. So unless they've been just totally priced out of it,
I imagine that's probably true.
Then there's not really much you can do, is there? If someone else can come up with the thing, if something else can, I mean, it's that today. It's that meeting today.
Oh. Yeah.
So obviously, right now we're still on special measures, aren't we? I imagine with the Premier League until it's all cleared. But we're in July 1st now, so we're in a new financial year. So I think it'll be a case of getting things clear so that we don't make the same mistakes. And hopefully from next week we can start.
Time's ticking, though,
doing. No, it is. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. I'm not defending it. I'm just trying to give reasons why it might be the way we are, because it doesn't. Listen, I've said my piece on Twitter before. You know, like I said before, of Everton just been clocking the airport situation over the last 3 or 4 months and thought, no, we're not going in Europe looking at players. Look at this. Might get your flight cancelled, or cases lost. We'll just have Premier League players who are out of contract. Because that's how it seems. Other clubs seem to be going, and I know it isn't the case in the case of Lewis Potter. He's obviously a Hull, but other clubs seem to be looking all over the place for players and being able to get them on decent amounts of money. See, I thought we were edging away from Lewis Potter because they were going back big for Johnson. We know they've met Johnson's representatives a few times. And I thought, well, maybe he's the one they're going to choose up the two. But if he's about to sign a new 5-year deal with Forest, then quite clearly he's staying put for a year. Or it'll take a big bid to get him out of there. So if Lewis Potter, if they do like him and it's 16 million, it'll come down to what Everton can put down. If Everton can't match Brentford's down payments right now, until things are cleared, then there's not really much they can do, is there? It's up to the lad then. You say to the lad, listen, give us a week.
The problem is, though, and this is genuine, if you were him, who'd you rather sign for right now?
I'd still go to Everton because they're just simply a much bigger club.
I know, but see, the thing about it is, though, these kids, they look at it and go, in 2 years, I think I'll be playing at a top 6 side. So actually, it's a stepping stone.
They all can't, though, can they?
But they're allowed to have that. They're allowed to have.
No, I know.
They're allowed to have that ambition.
Look at Brentford, yeah, okay.
They're allowed to have that ambition.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
And that's why I've never thought we'd get Brendan Johnson. Not at 1 minute that I think we get Brendan Johnson. Because the simple fact is, if he has one good season in the Premier League, they'll all come knocking for him. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. He's going to the World Cup. He is brilliant. And at the end of the season, all the teams in the top 4 will be looking for Liverpool. Will be looking at him at the end of the season. I guarantee they'll be looking at him. They mightn't sign him, but they'll be looking at him. He's a talented lad.
Everyone should be looking.
So why not have one season in representing your team and then move off to a big club?
Because Everton have had encouragement off him.
Yeah, but I mean,
so if that's the case, you wouldn't.
But he's signing a new contract.
Because we haven't gone anywhere.
That's how it works, doesn't it?
Because we haven't gone.
Everton trying to sign me. You better give me a big fat contract because we're in the Premier League. That's how it works, doesn't it?
Kev says love the new home kit, but it's just a logo for steak.com. That's putting me off massively.
Buy a bottle of acetone.
Looks like it's been designed by a child. Is there any way adults can get a blank version like the kids can get? Hasn't a club? One of the clubs did that.
West Ham did it. West Ham brought out extra large kids tops and said they were extra for big kids, and because they put them down as kids kits,
they could get away with it. Yeah.
So
Matt says, "Hi lads, nice new logo." One, not steak. I agree with Everton going after older Premier League players on free transfers. We need some. Okay, he agrees with it. Matt says we need strength and depth. Lingard brings pace and goals.
That's fair enough. Okay. It's fair enough. Again, though, I don't look at that as an area that we need to start off with.
But we both went through the numbers, and the pair of us were like, there's just no goals.
No, I agree with that. What I mean is that we've got. Yeah, I agree with that. That's fair enough. Yeah, isn't it? That's fair enough.
I just look at it and think, where will they all play? Do you know what I mean? If we didn't have Delhi, then you'd go, oh yeah, okay. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, Mike Dean has signed a deal, an exclusive contract to become a VAR official, dedicated VAR. What do you think about this this new VAR offside rule for the World Cup?
The chip in the ball. So I mean, it sounds
promising, doesn't it?
What it does is, I was explaining to Ned before that it took a while. I was explaining to Ned before that it alleviates what we said was an issue immediately, which is frame rate, because what apparently they can record the minute it leaves the foot. So when the ball's kicked,
it's automated, isn't it?
Person is.
It's like goal line technology.
So
simply.
Therefore, You'd know.
They've tested it. They've done tests.
It's getting used in the World Cup, isn't it?
And in the World Cup, they've done tests, and I imagine it'll be in the Premier League the following season.
Well, if it makes it better, then fine.
Well, essentially, they've brought it in because they don't want lengthy VAR stoppages, TV times, and all that.
But then again, they used VAR unbelievably.
I know, but there was a couple of times when they used it, and it
just
took too much time. And also, though, it does, if used correct, if it works, which it should do, because it'll be like the equivalent of goal line technology. Yeah. If it works properly, it will be. There'll be no doubt. Yeah. And we as people watching the game will be like we have a goal line technology. We never ever go, oh, that never went in or that went in. And I know goal line technology has failed once or twice, but we will. There'll be no doubt.
I mean, they'll still have VAR for everything else, won't people?
But offside is a massively contentious area.
I hate the way they let you play on for a bit and then they put the flag up. I know it just does my head, and I know why they do it, because if you score and you're onside. You're onside, and if they put it up and it's wrong, what can you do? You can't go, we had the ball, like, let's recreate the situation. But it's going to be interesting, defo. Dean says, how much would you say we could spend this thing, stand 30 to 40s? I don't know, for the simple reason that it's how you actually spend the money. If Everton had £40 million, if Everton had say Everton had £30 million to spend, that 30 million can become 80 million. If you, and what I mean by that is 90 million even. You could bring in some like 30 million pound players for that money, because you're amortising their contract. So you're actually paying whatever it is. If you said to someone, we'll give you 6 million a year over the contract, then you could your outlay is 18 million quid. Out of that 13, you've got 30 million pounds footballers into your team. You have to honour that every year. So obviously what we tend to do as fans, I do it, I'm sure most of us do it, is we'll buy those players this summer and go, well, we've just bought 3 players at 30 million, say. And the next summer you won't factor in that we still got to pay their next bit. So like 18 million has to be paid next summer as well, and 18 million the summer. You forget about it, don't you? You don't go, well, we've got 40 million to spend, but 18 of that we owe, don't we, for them? You forget about it. You just go, we bought them last year. We don't know about. And if Everton were any good at having a squad full of players who each summer you could sell a couple, it'd cover that, but we don't.
Let me ask you a question, just, and I don't know if you know the answer to this completely though, but the theme free transfers, Tarkowski, Lingard, Ericsson, players who are all hitting the 30s. What is that? Of course, there's the high wages, but how does that work in FFP terms? The fact that there's no initial outlay for the player, does that work in our favour? And is that why do you think we are looking at those players as a short-term fix? Just because, there will be a hit because of the age. But would that help our FFP rather than going down to a younger player who you might pay 20 million for? Lewis Potter say the wages are lower. Would that be worse for FFP? Because you have to pay something.
I don't know. I think for me, who my understanding of, and this could be totally wrong. Someone like the S could know this, or John Blaine might know this. Surely if you've got to have an outlay of money and you've got to pay wages, that's more damaging to your FFP. Yeah, surely it might not be. I
was just thinking. Then if the rumours are to be believed, and these are coming from, the rumour today, Jesse Lingard has come from Paul Joyce, and now it's coming from Paddy, the Athletic. So they're reasonable. They're reasonable sources. Yeah. Ericsson looks like we were in for him, and Tarkowski's on his way. So there's 3 players who free transfers. So, and we know FFP is going to be what we're suffering now is going to be a reasonably short 2 year. It's going to be another 2 years, isn't it?
It's going to be
of struggle till we get to the new stadium.
Basically,
So. Do you think? I was just thinking that must be the game plan then, surely, or part of the game plan is to go. Well, I'll tell you what. Till we get to the new stadium, let's have few players on free transfers where yet the wages we can cope with, but because I was seeing something last night. It was actually from someone who was quoting the Esk, and he was saying, the amortisation of Richarlison, he was only worth 12 million quid.
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah.
So, because he'd signed a new contract, he was only worth 12 million. We've made 30 odd million quid on him. Obviously, because we've given Watford money, so
35 million.
So that must be part of the game plan, mustn't it? It must be beneficial. I know we're all sitting here going, we're making the same mistakes again, but there must be some beneficial reason why we are going for older players on free transfers. There has to be for FFP. There must be some. That must be within the wiggle room, surely, because putting cash down up front is, whether the young players or not, that seems to be the sticking point.
But I think you do have to have. Yeah, it must be, because otherwise you wouldn't. But But for me, for any kind of progress, you've got to do both until you flip it the other way. Everton's ideal thing would be to reduce the wages right the way down, and that's what it should be. It should be like, we pay. You're coming to us, and if you're going after the right type of player, they're not going to be on anywhere near 50, 60 grand. If you're going to France, them younger players aren't on 50, 60, 70,000 pounds a week.
No, I get that, but I just wonder whether the way FFP works, does that really matter? Does that really play its part? Listen, I'm sitting here. I'm using the facts that we seem to against where we are. We know where. We know we're up against it. And look, listen, it doesn't play out exactly like that, because in January we went out and brought 2 young fullbacks in for like 35 million combined. And of course their wages are going to be lower, and that was on the back of obviously selling Luca Dean, who I imagine their wages probably would have matched up to Luca Dean's. Combined would be similar to Luca Dean's, wouldn't he? So there must be something within what they think is that wiggle room, that free transfers for 3 years. Because of course that third year would be in the new stadium as well. So there must be something in there, surely.
There must be, and that must be the way they think they can do it. I don't know. Solo says you ain't spending 30 million on a player. Last year you spent 1.5 million. Well, we did, because we had no room last year, whereas we've got room this year. And like I've just explained, you can buy those kind of players by paying for the contract over the years they go, like everyone does. So Everton could quite easily do that, mate. So we'll see, won't we? We'll wait and see what happens.
Well, the reason we didn't buy anyone last season for any kind of big money is because we didn't sell anyone for any kind of big money. No.
And don't forget, we had Luis Diaz. If James says yes, Everton would have paid for Luis Diaz, and it would have been. And don't forget, it was 31 million, wasn't it? I think the agreed fee, 31 million. Liverpool got him for 40 in January. It would have been 31, I think it was, which would have been 6 million. I think he agreed 6.25 million per season that Everton had to pay. And obviously Everton would have gambled that by going, we're doing that. Chase Hammers would have gone and they created more money and would have tried to sell someone. So that's the way it is. What do you think about Shane Long? No, isn't he 30?
Shane Long?
Isn't he 33, Eugene?
He's in Boyzone. Shane Long.
He's fast.
Who said that?
Eugene. Come on, Eugene. Come on.
Is he on YouTube or
on
a Premier
YouTube,
member?
He's all right, Eugene.
No, I know, that's outrageous.
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
I think he might just be looking for a striker. Carl says, sad to see Richie go, but wish him the best. If it had been Dom that left, I really wouldn't have cared. I personally sell him, don't trust him to be fit the whole season. Well, I mean, to be fair to Dom, he's had one season where he was injured. He's been fit every other year, hasn't he? So let's see how it plays out. Joe Mack says, you lads think we'll have a repeat of last summer where we choose not to spend and target loans and frees. I still think we'll spend some money, but I think we've got to be really cautious. We've got to start pushing the bus in another direction. We've been going down this road of we'll just pay whatever and listening to agents and spend. It doesn't matter. Spend. And that's why we're where we are. We've got to stop losing big amounts of money every year. And you only do that by stop wasting it on players that aren't good
staying
enough.
As far away from the mic as possible.
Yeah. No, but we've got to start bringing more money in. You know, you've got people in charge of the football club, without making it personal. We're still losing money every year, so they can't be doing their job right because we're losing money. We've got players on contracts that we probably can't afford because we're not good enough. That can't continue to happen. We have to start buying players who are younger so that we can sell one every 2 or 3 years and put the money back in. And if you drag that wage bill back down to an acceptable level that the club can cope with, and you bring more money in commercially, and then you move to Bramley Moor Dock, all of a sudden, you're going the other way then. Then I've got money to spend early on, and you do start bringing players in June, ready for pre-season, and then you get on the right side of FFP.
Beyonce and Paul McCartney, they'll be paying the bills soon.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And what happens is, if Everton got themselves back in some kind of line, they could have that one big summer where they hammer it and spend money, because then you recover over the next 2 years. Right now, we tried to have that big summer, but money was still going out the back door. We can't keep getting players in who walk out the door free. Now, okay, I understand. People would then go, well, what about Jesse Lingard then? What's the point then? Because you're not getting any money for him. I get that. I get it.
You still need footballers, don't you?
Right, but the flip side to that is kind of what you just said before. We won't be paying any money for Jesse Lingard other than his wages. So if he come in, yes, he's going to walk out in 2 or 3 years for nothing. But we haven't had an outlay. Everton's big issue hasn't been getting people in for nothing and them going for nothing. Everton's issue has been Shank Tosin for 25 million, 90 grand a week. Hasn't played for us for 2 years, or had about 4 minutes. He's 50 games he played, I think. You played money for Delph, 3 games a season or something. He's walked out for nothing. Paid money for Balassi, got injured, didn't work out. Paid more, and it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on.
Someone like Jesse Lingard just would be a fix for the loss of Richarlison's goals. I'd say
Half.
For the 10 goals, let's say, in the Premier League.
Does he get 10? Got 2 in 30 games for United. 20 games for United.
I think he's going to play. He'd play more games, and I think he'd be a 1 and 3 striker, off the mid strike. I think he'd get near or thereabouts what Richarlison scores personally, and then that's the way they would look at it. I think. And then it's a case of, and it's a short-term fix, and I think that's the way maybe we are looking at the moment, because what you got to say is, right, we can't. There's this thing of like, well, we can't buy those players, those young players for 20 million. We can't buy them. But then we don't want these 29-year-olds who are for free. But we need players. We have to bring in players. It's not like when you're talking about, like, you know, the squad's on its arse. You know, again, we've got to bring in players, and we've got to decide which ones are the right ones. And as I said, for two years, this is going to be a difficult spot. A really difficult spot, and we just have to have a plan to get out of it. And there might be that thing of like, well, yeah, we might have to bring in a couple of these players. Look, I mean, we've brought Tarkowski's coming in, you know, for the same kind for decent money, but he's free because they see him as that good stopgap. Plays a lot of games. They might think the same for Jesse Lingard. They might have gone through his numbers and gone, well, this is a lad who doesn't get lots of injuries, or because he didn't really start playing in the Premier League till he was like 24. You know, he'd had a lot of loans before that and that kind of thing. They might think he's got more longevity. That's the way they might be thinking. I'm not defending. I don't really want a lot of that kind of player in the squad. Of course I don't. But they just might be thinking, if it can get us over the hump for a couple of years, keep us competitive, keep us in the Premier League till we get to the new stadium, where financially, straight away,
he must have been sold by then, and
I know, of course,
people in bringing in more money as well. Of
course,
mightn't he?
So it's a very interesting time.
It certainly is. Tim says Lingard's going to West Ham. He probably is. Yeah. He probably is going to West Ham, to be fair. Owen says it's a note for Lingard for me. Pointless signing, as we already have delete. Lingard decent, but again, it's thoughtless targets. Get Noah Lang or Bodu. Owen says the other shame, in my opinion, is Jovic going on loan to Fiorentina from Real Madrid. Yeah. Peter Finn, Richarlison during his time, most goals, most shots. Yeah, I saw that this morning.
He's suddenly boss now, isn't he?
He's amazing now, yeah. Oh, yeah, he's not a diver no more. He's amazing. Worth the money now. Sam says, strange one for me. Can't place him in the first 11 if all forwards are fit. Just a very expensive squad filler. And I'm tired of prove me wrong nonsense. Fair enough, Sam. He has more goals, though, doesn't he? Then it depends what your first 11 looks like, I guess. Barry says, afternoon fellas, our new top looks boss in the background. It's right, Baz. Keep it going. Good luck for the season. It does look boss, to be fair. The kit is great and the logo looks sound on it. So good luck to Aintree under 11s this season. BVB, Aintree BVB.
We'll be watching though.
Yeah,
we'll be watching.
Like, remember what I said? Enjoyment. It's all about enjoyment,
yeah.
And then win.
Yeah. If the results aren't coming in after the first couple of months, we might have to
call you in. Baz sponsors might have to come in and say, Baz, what's going on? Yeah. Explain yourself. Terry Mack says, quite a lot to unpack today. Richarlison gone, Tarkovsky in, new kit, new channel logo, Lingard link. Please make sure to find time for DJ Spuddles and Ned's Lizards. Tom says it's pretty much nailed on. Richie will return in 4 years, isn't it? Might be back in like 18 months, like Pina, who knows. Tom says, regarding Lingard, we have to stay away from last big wage payday types. Luke says, what are you up to tonight, lads? Me personally, I'm crying into my pint with lucid dreams on blast watching Richarlison's greatest goal compilations.
Don't do that. I want to see Duran Duran. Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, it's he's gone. He's gone. There's not much we can do. Got to move on. Honest. No, we have. Liam says, anyone else willing to give Delhi a run as Richie's direct replacement? It's how you would play. You know, he can't play off the left, can he? He can't
play. If he plays off
Dom, if he plays off Dom, then he'd have to be a 10, really, wouldn't he? If you,
that's his position.
Because you'd have to have two people in wide areas. No, but that means your two behind.
Wing backs.
Your two behind have got to be mobile then.
Go and buy them then.
Haven't you? You've got to have mobile. I mean, the core is mobile, so you'd need another mobile one with them. We ain't really got that in the squad at the moment.
3-5-2.
It's not about pressing like the Richarlison, though, is it?
It's about scoring like
John says, nice new kit, not perfect, but an 8 out of 10 for me. Jay says, Belotti on a free from Torino, be a great sign.
Oh, God.
Slow, though, isn't he?
Don't tell the piv.
He's slow. Do you want another slow player? Don't know. Mr. Hov OXO says, lads, it's the new shirt, St. Rupert's Tower design, a texture you can feel, or is it printed on? No, you can feel it. It's textured. It's textured.
Dead pillowy, honestly.
No, but it's textured, isn't just a print, is it?
Wipe your bum with it.
John says, Gabaman has played every game for CSKA, so why don't we take him back? Well, he is back. He is back. So it's up to him now, isn't it? If he comes back and gets his head down and proves to Lampard that he wants it, it's all on the lad now, then of course he'd be given a go, wouldn't he? Harry says, could Conte play Richarlison as a left wing back?
I couldn't care less.
I hope he does, and Richarlison wants out soon, wants to come back. I mean, I wouldn't play him there.
Like Lukaku after a year going,
this is enough, I want to go back. Nick Redmond on the super chat, nice one. Nick says, 3 years on 100 grand a week costs us 16 million. How many 17, 20-year-olds can we roll a dice on from smaller clubs for that money? Much prefer a loan deal for someone that can thread a press from centre mid.
It's a good point.
I can't argue with you.
Good point.
Of course we can't, but we're not doing the buying, are we? If they've got a plan and it helps FFP because there's no down payments with cash, then maybe that's why they look at it. I don't know, by the way. But yeah, Jack says sell Damari.
To where?
Okay, I don't know. John says, what the hell's going on with Delhi? Well, he's just getting ready to come back to pre-season training, I think.
Is that like something that's just been on the news?
I mean, I've not seen anything. Do you know what's seen anything? Right, just let's race through these last few ones. Thelwell looking at old players wanting big wages already, not looking good for him. How do we know that that's all he's doing now? That's all I'd say. Let's just keep your powder dry. and see what happens.
As we said, that might be something to do with FFP. That might be something to do with short-term gains, short-term wins.
Adam says, got to be honest, I'm not overly asked about Richarlison going. If it's a choice between bringing in fresh players or keeping Richards an easy choice, obviously it needs to be spent wisely, but I'll take that over starting the season with the same players. Steve says, do you lads think that any incoming should be low risk loan to buy positions we need, not got cash to throw around? Well, yeah, if you can do it, Steve, can you persuade clubs to do that? That's the key, isn't it? And what players can you get in on those terms? Are they going to make Everton any better? That's what we are.
See, last night, was it last night? I don't know the exact player, but the City group brought some kid who's like apparently South American shit.
Yeah.
Right. Sent him to bought him.
Has he gone to New York City?
No, he's gone to. I can't. How do you pronounce it? Troyes. Troyes in France.
Troyes.
Then loaned him to PSV. So they've got him into the City group. Obviously, got the work permit for him, and then sent him to PSV, and he's going to be under Ruud van Nistelrooy. And it's like, what's the point? What's the point anymore?
You're knackered. Terry says Townsend, Delhi, Iwobi, Gray, previously Walcott, and now maybe Lingard. We are literally a graveyard for Premier League nearly men. Ard says Lingard can play both wings and in the hole too. Steelam says, do you think we can get our Ned to buy me the new Everton shirt to make up for the poor performance on Father's Day?
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
If not, I'll leave it for you guys to make sure he gets me something nice from the USA, the young Ebenezer. Yeah, he is full Ebenezer. Like, Tippy Toffee says, do you guys know any of the scouts at the club or former scouts could maybe do a bit on how it all works? Yeah, actually, I'm going to have someone coming in very soon to do a bit on like the academy and stuff. Who was there, so... Pete McCoy says Rashford's out of contract next summer and our favourite at United. Left side forwards, works hard, loves a goal. Would you guys take a look at him? Yeah, I'd have Rashford. I'd have Rashford all day long. Where's DJ Spuddle's money, Bill? Is what Rob says. If Bill knows.
Bill's only at the club because of DJ Spuddle.
Big Spuddles. Would you go for that Matthias Norman at Norwich? He was good. He was a good midfielder.
He got better when he dyed his hair.
He did.
He looked good actually when we played against them. I thought he looked good. But
Peter says Everton have become one of the most embarrassing clubs in the Premier League, outbid by Brentford, and the last 4 seasons finishing below a promoted team. What promoted team will Everton finish below this season? None. There you go.
I'll keep my powder dry on that one.
Nice, and I do love the positivity. Yeah. There you go. Right. Thank you very much. Hit the likes on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't. Have a brilliant Friday. There's someone just asking about the takeover. There's nothing else at the moment, and I imagine it'll be quiet for 2 or 3 days, and then there'll be another story put out. There's not been anything else after since we've done the live show last night. Not that I've seen anyway.
No, it's gone quiet.
Not that I've seen.
Have the weekend off, lads.
Yeah. It'll be mad, won't it? And Warren says Lingard's been trash of late. Why would we pursue him? Well, it might just be paper talk, like Ped said before. It might be him, his agent, feeding it, going Everton and dead interested, so that West Ham hurry up and give him what he wants or whatever. The worst thing about it is, if he does go to West Ham and does well, there'll be loads of Blues fuming then going, we should have got him, won't there?
Of course they will.
Because I remember last time, when he was linked with us when he went on loan to West Ham, and then people were losing it 6 weeks later because he was excellent for West Ham. We should have got him. It's a joke. And this is it with footy, isn't it? Lots of people watch it. It's all about opinions, isn't it? Everyone's got one, and the differs. So there you go.
Don't forget, if you want exclusive daily videos, exclusive live videos, join us over on Toffee TV Premier. The link is in the description, and the QR code will be on the screen when we finish. Thanks for watching. See you later.
Bye.